The station of the stars. RTI.
And that'll be us then. Radio Tatras International at the base of the glorious Tatry Mountains with snow-covered hills. And we've had so much stress this morning. Yes, I love them as well. Thank you for the loves on Facebook already. You are wonderful. It's your alternative news programme with a bit of other stuff going in there. And we'll say hello to some people in a moment as well. But first of all, we're going to hopefully, and I pray, cross to the UK to find the lovely Leigh Banks. That went well, didn't it?
Or not.
I could see him talking, but it's not working.
He was talking 10 seconds ago. I don't know what's happened.
Oh, he'll come back. Hello.
There he is.
There he is. Eureka, we found him. It's boys and girls, it's an age thing, you see. He gets lost very easily.
It's a computer thing. They're a load of rubbish.
We've got lots to do today, boys and girls, so I'm going to keep it short. But nice to have you with us, Mr. Banks.
It's very nice to be with you. It's nice to be one of the not forgotten.
Yeah, I didn't forget you at all. And giggling away like a little gigglitis girl down there in Australia. Not for long, because she'll be in Europe soon. It's the lovely Rachel.
Hello. I know it's on page 10, but Australia said yes.
Hello.
We'll say hello to some people first, and then we're going to do something very serious because we do, on this radio station, respect people who have gone the extra mile, done something amazing, and made a difference not just for themselves, but for everybody else as well. And if you are not aware, we'll tell you why today is such a special day in the centre of Europe especially. But first of all, we got to say, are you ready, guys?
Yes.
Go on, man.
We got to say happy birthday to Paul Rustling.
Yes, that came up on Facebook today. Happy birthday, Paul Rustling.
Happy
Happy
birthday.
birthday, Mr. Rustling. I was the first. I said it ages ago, didn't I?
Paul was apparently dancing on to the RTI signature tune, which he says is jolly good. Marcus has joined us. Good morning, Eric, says Paul Quinton. Esther from Holland is there. Marcus has added, hello, Eric. You make my Fridays happy. We're so happy. No, not going there. David Phillips has joined us, as has Wolf and Lisa and Stephanie. It's two. I've got to say hello to Vampy, because Vampy is always here, our little alien kitten. She's always around, and Tyrant's always here as well. That's on a different chat room. There's just too many chat rooms. I can't cope. There's too much for me. I'm a man. I could only do one thing at a time.
That's a good point. I'll be there soon. I'll help you read it.
Thank you. But anyway,
Right.
The most important thing for us today, not necessarily for Rach, because there's a really big story down in Australia that we're going to cover, and I think it's wonderful. The 17th of November in 1989 was actually the second day of what is colloquially called the Velvet Revolution, although a lot of people here don't like the term Velvet Revolution, they prefer something else. And that was the end of the 1980s, and there was still a communist dictatorship here. I wouldn't be allowed to sit here and talk and fool around on the radio as we do without these wonderful people doing what they did. And it was a tremendous year, because it started on the 16th of November in Bratislava, and that was just before the International Students' Day, which is organised around the world. And the following day, the Prague meeting was held, and at that point, Czechoslovakia was one country. The downside was there was police everywhere, there was all sorts of things going on, there was a general strike across the country, as well as these massive demonstrations, which the police tried to quash. The police actually tried to stop this happening in 1989, but they did not win. They didn't win, because these guys stood in front of everywhere. They were just so amazing. So from the late 60s, when the communist era started, coming up to 1989, it was just horrific here. And some of the stories I've been told, I actually can't share on the radio. They are too... I don't know what the right word is really, because they're horrific for one thing. They're also deeply saddening that one human being could do that to another human being, which I find terribly offensive. But anyway, in 1989, the students stood up, as those wonderful people in a couple of weeks ago who lost their lives in the world wars. These are people that stood up for democracy, and you cannot praise people enough who stand up for democracy. And then, of course, a bit later on, Slovakia separated very quietly from the Czech Republic, and they became two separate countries. So I just want everybody to remember that back in 1989, and we must not forget this, like we mustn't forget the 11th of November. We must not forget these dates. Communism was trawled down and pushed down and got rid of by young people working not for themselves, because we always get this, young people are only interested in themselves. No, they weren't. They were interested in the whole communities that they were working for and on behalf of. And to all of you guys, I just have to say a million thanks, because as I said at the beginning, we wouldn't be able to fool around on the radio if it wasn't for you nice people, would we, Leigh?
No, we wouldn't. No, it's a very good point, and I think it's something that does need pointing out. Apparently, tens of thousands of Czechs are expected to rally in Prague today and over the weekend.
Yes, they will.
Not in an aggressive fashion, just in
commemoration.
A way of, yeah, and it's still a massively big thing. The Czech Republic
and Slovak Republic.
Yeah, but the Czech Republic itself is actually in a state of political confusion at the moment, isn't it?
True.
And so they're also going to be rallying about that. And that's the thing, where we have rallies in Britain, we don't seem to do very much with them. In Europe, if you have a rally, it appears something happens, and you don't have to go and biff people. You just do it.
And they have this... I'll tell you another country that's very similar today, not in the past, but today, is things like Southern Ireland, where they come out en masse, they say, we don't agree with that, and they stand there in the middle of the road, and they say, no. And they're quite good, but they're not like some other countries that just cause chaos for everybody else. They're actually trying to help when they're doing it. But there we go. We say a million thanks to them. We really do. We also say hi to Stephanie, to Lisa, to Penny, Vieira, Ian, and David, who just joined us as well. So I'm going to shut up for a minute and have a slurp of coffee. But thank you all again to all of you for letting us fool around on the radio. And I'll let Leigh introduce the next item.
Which will be really difficult because I haven't got a list.
You have got a list.
Oh, I've got it here. Oh, heck, yes. I thought, oh, how sad, eh? Yeah, really sad one, isn't it?
You little fibber.
I was just a bit confused because it's been a very confusing morning with everything going missing and breaking down, and now I didn't find my list, and then I couldn't find my sound thing, and then my speaker, that thing that I speak into, that microphone thing, that keeps shutting everything down when I stick it in. I'm just not sticking anything in it anymore.
Well, I don't blame
Doesn't
you.
happen ever, and do you know why? Because I only use Apple products.
Well, then, aren't they?
I will get my own back on you later, young lady.
You should as well. Anyway, shall we tell the lady and gentleman who's listening about Keith Barron?
Poor old Keith
Barron. Yeah, he's died, ladies and gentlemen. He's died. He's no longer with us.
And it's sad.
It's terrible.
He was 83, though. That wasn't bad.
But he was a great character actor.
He used to be in Duty Free, didn't he?
Yeah. And he was the sort of downtrodden husband that Leigh and I understand so well.
He was. He was me and you together, wasn't he?
Absolutely. And Rob.
He had practice between.
Yeah. And for all you men out there who need to be standing up for yourselves, Keith Barron should be our hero. He should be our mascot for all the downtrodden men in the world.
I think he was the founder of the Henpecked Husbands Association. Joke. Not true.
But he was actually, you know, and you think, in the 80s, he encapsulated the pre-new man. He was nice, he was friendly, he was caring, but he was also a bit of a lad. He liked, and I'm talking about his character, not him necessarily, although he did like to have a drink, and he liked to tarry-diddle with the ladies, and so he created this whole image of mandom of that period.
Sure.
And he was really good. We all loved.
Did you see that down in Osrach?
Nah.
Nah.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know who he is.
That's really good, Rach.
What?
That's really good.
What? Nah.
Well, because you don't have any idea what we're talking about. And when
most of the time.
And when you two blather on about something la-di-da, you now know how I feel.
And I know how he feels because I never understand a word he says to me all week.
I'm sorry, Rach, not going to get this one either. This is a wonderful guy. Tim Gudgeon. What a tremendous guy. He was the epitome of a Saturday afternoon. If you don't know what he did, he read the classified football results out on BBC Television's Grandstand programme. And
why did you call them classified?
Did he read the paper on the radio?
Yes.
Yeah.
Stupid boy. And
There was
just
a person who actually got paid to do that.
yes.
That's very
Now let me explain how it went.
There's no such thing as a classified football reports.
Was it secret, like the CIA? Was it CIA football results?
Do you know what Dorothy's just said?
What?
She just said, "Here we go again."
Dorothy, it's him, isn't it, Rach? It's him. He just causes trouble. He just thinks he thinks it's entertaining to cause trouble all the time.
Yep,
Anyway,
all the time.
for those that don't know what Tim Gudgeon was like, this was Tim Gudgeon reading out the Division 1 football results.
This is classified information, by the way.
Classified.
Yeah.
Tottenham Hotspur 20. Hold on a minute. You have to be quiet while I'm doing this. Tottenham Hotspur 20.
Let's have a sleep,
Arsenal 1.
Day.
I'll repeat that for you. Tottenham
Because
Hotspur
I spoke over it.
20. Arsenal 1.
He just wants to keep saying Arsenal because of the beginning.
Well, I say I to get in trouble.
I would just love to do that score. I always wanted to do that job.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Read out the classifieds.
Read out the football results, because then I could say.
Watch paint dry. That's a great job too.
No, then I could say Tottenham Hotspur 20, Arsenal 1.
See, he said it again. He said Arsenal again. There's other teams, Rach. There's other teams. He just wants to keep saying Arsenal because he thinks it's funny because he's a child.
No, I'm just a Spurs fan.
Well, why? But how does anybody in soccer ever make 20?
They might all get sent off.
Yeah.
Okay, no, you're right, Rach. Actually,
those Socceroos the other day did pretty well, didn't they, Uncle Eric?
they did. Yeah. No, actually, you're so right, Rachel. You're absolutely right. I stand corrected. So there we are. Here we go. Tottenham Hotspur 8, Arsenal 1.
Oh, that's still a reach.
It's still a bit of a reach. But that's exact. He did the whole of the football results like that. Fabulous, fabulous guy. I've seen this lady and I am humbled to have seen her.
Yeah.
She was at Biggin Hill one year when I lived not too far away from there. And she was the Spitfire pilot called Joy Lofthouse. Now, her job was to actually move Spitfires around from one command centre to another command centre. And she was one of about 150 female pilots, and they were known as Atta Girls. And they... Stop it! Don't go there.
No.
No.
I meant that lovingly and caringly. Atta girl.
Had a girl.
Atta girl.
Yeah. See, nobody knew where Atta girl came from until that moment, and now we've revealed to the world why you say Atta girl.
Atta girl. That's the one.
Not even that was free information.
That'll do for me. Anyway, these are amazing girls because even though they were flying in the UK, there was still German aircraft whizzing around all over the place, and they could have been shot.
Was there?
Sorry?
Nothing. It was a joke, but it didn't work because you could talk all over it.
Thank you very much. Anyway, she was one of the, I think, the last remaining Spitfire pilots. She died at the age of 94, and another one of these wonderful people that did so much and didn't even bat an eyelid when they did. They just got on with it.
That's it.
Yeah, like anybody else.
Yeah.
Man would.
Now, this is where I get totally lost. Well, a little bit, because this is Leigh's story, so therefore he's going to be completely and absolutely up to speed on this story.
Never.
You fibber, you put it in there. US rapper Lil Peep has died at the age of just 21.
Yeah, it's a really sad story. You know who he is, don't you, Rachel?
No, I really don't. I don't follow rap.
Well, you can see who's down with the kids then, can't you? Yeah.
I'll quickly text Beth. She probably knows who he is.
Oh, well, Little Peep has died. And I say it really is an absolutely tragic story. He was 21. He came from Tucson in Arizona. And,
Tucson?
Tucson? What's wrong with Tucson?
DC Islands.
Anyway,
we're trying to do a serious piece of the programme.
We're talking about dead people. I see dead people. Yeah, he's dead, and you're taking a mickey out of the fact he comes from Tucson.
He comes from Tucson.
Tucson, darling.
That's how it's spelled. It's a biscuit town. That's where the biscuits come from. Tuck. And he's the son.
No, it's not. It's Tucson.
Tucson, Arizona.
There's only one.
It's Tucson, Arizona. Do you not know some of your hippie friends that used to sing about Tucson?
And anyway, Uncle Leigh, I'm surprised at you. You're not the one who mispronounces words. It's Uncle Eric's job to do that.
Boom!
It's Salt Lake City, Tucson. It's you. You've got it wrong. You both have got it wrong, and I'm very upset because everything's going wrong in my life at the moment. Things get me what's it in, and I'm on somebody else to talk to. You know, all you do is taking a mickey.
Never mind, eh?
Tell us how he died. He died for 21 years old. How did he die, Uncle Leigh?
He literally, apparently, blew his mind. It would appear that it is something to do with drugs, and he almost, in some ways, predicted what was going to happen. I think it was just youthful exuberance that went awfully wrong.
Yep. I couldn't agree with you more, as it does. Let's face it, it happened to Jimi Hendrix all those decades ago, same thing.
Yeah, the 27...
The 27 Club.
Yep.
27 Club has had no new members since what she called the horse-faced woman with the big...
81.
Yeah, she was the last member of the 27 Club.
Absolutely. Yeah, she's good. Hello to the lovely Sally Fossey from Bedfordshire.
Sally.
And now we've got a note. To all UK rail companies, it doesn't apply in Slovakia. It could apply in Australia, I don't know. Rach will have to tell us. But a Japanese rail firm has apologised profusely for an intercity service that left a station, are you ready, 20 seconds earlier than it should do.
And quite so they should.
Oh.
You know what? When I lived in Japan, the thing I loved lots of things about living in Japan. There's not much not to love about it, but the rail service was amazing. But the politeness of all the people who give you services. I didn't realise how appalling the service was in Australia until I came back from living in Japan. But the rail service, if it's early or late, or if it doesn't land on an exact mark where the platform says doors are going to be, they put all these apologies all over the airwaves.
Right, well, anyway, we're going to say hello. Ready?
Hello.
We're going to say hello to Wren Park Nursing Home, which is where Sally is at the moment.
Hello, Sally, Wren Park, and all the residents.
Absolutely. And hello to Joe, who hopefully is at home this week, not in Bedford at the hospital, but we'll find out in a minute because he'll no doubt tell us. But you're absolutely right, Rach. But we have to move on because we've got so much to get into the programme.
Don't move on immediately. I know we've got lots to get through, but this is really interesting because yesterday, it wasn't, it was the day before. Whatever the day before yesterday was.
Do you want to phone a friend?
Pardon?
Do you want to phone a friend?
No, I don't. No, I can't even hear you properly because this machine I'm on is absolute rubbish. So I'm having difficulty hearing.
Now, you should tell everybody what machine you're on.
I'm on Andrea's.
Are you? Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Can I just tell you what happened to us at the station?
Go on then, if you must.
This is British Rail for you, right? We knew we had a train to catch, but we were in the city of culture, we were having a look round, everything was glorious. I like Hull. Hull's a wonderful place to be. And we saw the train at the station, so we said, come on, darling, let's go and get on that train then. That'll take us back to Beverley, where we were staying. That's not a girl, that's a town. And we walked towards the train. The train driver was there. For some reason, he was driving it backwards, so he was looking directly at us, hanging out of his window. We walked down the station, the doors was open, and all of a sudden he put his foot down, the door shut, and he vanished.
That's rude.
Gosh.
That's rude. If I tell you what, if I could have caught him, I'd have shoved him up his own funnel.
I'm going to ask a favour of some people on Facebook for a second, guys, because Joe is back at Bedford Hospital with his good lady. The 16 more weeks of chemo. If you're on Facebook at the moment, you know you can like the comments that are alongside where you are on the chat room at the moment. Can we just send lots of love to Joe and his good lady wife, and hopefully she'll get better from this treatment. So send lots of love to Joe and his good lady wife, Mrs. Meadows, for a speedy recovery. I think that'd be really cool.
Absolutely.
Thank you. The government is considering settling an outstanding £450 million debt with Iran over this young lady who's in prison there.
Funny thing is, yeah, we don't negotiate on things like this, do we? But on this case, we are. Should we be doing it or should we not? I think, personally, is life worth more than £450 million?
Yeah.
I think it is.
Yep, it is. I wouldn't agree with... half of me says you don't give the money out, but the other half of me says, little daughter, mum, some serious journalists saying that she's suffering a bit of a breakdown. And, you know, there's only so much time where you can effectively sit on money. And the amount of years we've had it, I think it was somewhere in the 1970s. We've had £450 million. We've had plenty of interest on it. Get rid of it.
Well, that's it. But we're saying that obviously Britain doesn't react to ransom demands. But the argument is that this money should not be considered a ransom payment. It's actually paying a debt, which is a bit of a. It's not even in a grey area. It's absolutely transparent. You can see exactly what they do. But if that is a way of solving this problem, and it comes out with a bit of dignity for everybody, then go ahead and do it. I'm sure there can be something sorted out later on.
Call it something nice like repatriation
fee.
Yeah, a repatriation fee.
That'll do, won't it? This is a point in the programme we don't have very often, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, but today we're going to have it. Because now we belt down to Australia, because Australia takes over the programme, and there's so much Australian... Leigh and I are just going to sit here and have coffee now while Rachel does the rest of the show on her own. Apart from the fact, I'm going to say, hello, possums!
Hello, possums? Yes. Barry Humphries is back on deck.
Yes! Yes!
Yes! He's 83 years old, and he's still clomping along, but he's not bringing Dame Edna or Sir Les or Sandy Stone with him this time. He's being himself, and he's going to tell his stories, and I think it's going to be one of the most brilliant shows ever. Every time he comes to town and does his show, I go. Always.
He's just so funny, isn't he?
So brilliant. But the last one he did was even more brilliant that I saw. It was not the last one, the one before that. He did all three characters, but he did everything sort of not as outrageously humorous as he was normally do. It was a little bit reflective and, you know, nice and sort of undertoned a little bit. And it was really nice to see him do something a little slightly different with those characters. Just bring it down a notch, and it was a bit more intimate and a fair. And yeah, he's coming back, so that's a really.
But he did some TV. I don't know whether they were TV shows or TV specials, where he was himself Barry Humphries in the UK, and he was absolutely hysterical.
He's written some fantastic books too. He's written a couple of autobiographies, but they're so brilliant, and what an interesting life he's led, and just his journey from sort of funny little boy to now is
brilliant.
Really interesting.
Barry, we wish you all the best in the world, sir. And now we stay there because only in Australia.
Well, I'm actually going to do something. I'm going to do something I never do, and I'm going to bump the order. Because
why?
Instead of talking about sheep, I really think it's important to talk about this yes vote. The survey, the non-binding, ridiculous $120 million survey that they sent out to all us voters to say, should we have the law changed to allow same-sex marriage? Contentious issue, big deal at the last election. They promised a plebiscite. The opposition blocked the plebiscite, so they decided, well, let's have a great big expensive survey instead. And if the result comes back that yes or no, then that's what we will do. Mm-hmm. So we got the results finally, after all this campaigning backwards and forwards, we finally got the result. 61.6% of Australians said yes, we should change the law to allow same-sex marriage, which is very, very cool. So now Malcolm Turnbull, our Prime Minister, and Bill Shorten, the opposition leader, who agree on this issue, about the only one they do agree on, said they want to push the legislation through Parliament and have it made law before Christmas.
Nice.
Big deal in Australia. We're so far behind the rest of the world on this issue.
So actually that means you'll have to get married again.
Well, no, all we have to do, when it gets pushed into legislation, all we have to do is take our paperwork from when we got married in New York.
By the way, can I better quantify this. The thing is about gay marriage, Rachel's not gay, she married her husband. Man.
Yeah. I did, and he's girly sometimes, but I'm not gay.
Yeah.
He's not gay either, but although, maybe questioning. We always did. We never wanted to get married in Australia unless everybody could. That was what we always said. So when we got married in New York, where everybody can, we decided that we wouldn't register our marriage here in Australia until everybody could. So as soon as they stamp the law and say everybody can, then we will go to births, deaths and marriages and register our marriage in Australia. But because everybody can, not just because some of us can, but because everybody can.
Right. Message from Dorothy just in, hot off the wires. I met Barry at Waterstone's bookshop in Manchester about 10 or more years ago. Charming, fascinating and interesting evening. There you go.
Lovely man.
Yeah, nice man. Hello to Steve, who'll probably... Steve Mann, he's our resident arguer with Leigh Banks, which we can't...
Hello.
That's why we like Steve. And Richie B's there. Can I go only in Australia now, then?
Yes, you can.
Right, here we go. Ready? Here we go. Only in Australia. Off you go.
Somebody has decided that there was a reason to do a study on sheep. Now, that's okay, but apparently sheep recognise celebrities. I don't know who paid money to have this done. The Cambridge University. There you go.
Right.
Cambridge University.
It's interesting. You can't pull the wool over a sheep's eyes.
Oh, that's so bad. That is so bad. Is it really so surprising that sheep... Where does the sheep get to see the celebrities in the first place? This story's a load of rubbish. Well, they got a television.
What I want to know is why.
Oh, no. I don't want to hear anymore. I want to be in the broken graveyard of broken computers.
Why does anybody want to train a sheep to recognise celebrities? Is the sheep going to become a paparazzo, for example? No. Because it has no opposable thumbs and it walks on four legs. And why on earth?
Paparazzi, actually.
Perhaps the sheep are going to be trained to bar the not famous people.
We're not laughing at that.
Are you not?
No.
I thought that was quite good.
No, but they do say that they they want to investigate the Huntington's disease. It could the
be.
sheep's
Yeah, it could be a good thing. Could be a good thing. Very quickly, we'll do one more story before the break. The Bolton comic, another comedian coming back on the circuit, is Peter Kay.
He's never been away.
He has.
Oh, all right then.
He has. He's not been doing stand-up for years.
Well, he has actually. This story's totally wrong.
No, he's not. He's been doing television.
He's been doing television, right?
Sitcoms.
You carry on doing fake news, and I'll find out the last time he did stand-up, because I reckon he did stand-up within 3 years.
You reckon?
Okay.
I'm just going to check now. You carry on.
Yeah, don't use Wikipedia, for God's sake.
Careful what button you press. You might explode your computer.
Yeah. Well, fine. I'll tell you what. We'll take a break, boys and girls, while the big whizzy journalist goes off and does some research. I'm scared now. I'm petrified.
From the heart of Europe to the world, this is RTI.
This is an appeal that I simply wish I didn't have to make. In this day and age, how is it possible that 1,400 children will die today from dirty water? That children like Elodie have to drink dirty water from rivers and swamps, risking their lives. Right now, you can help save a child's life. Text the word water to 70080 to give WaterAid £3. WaterAid has the expertise to install pipes, pumps and taps that will bring clean water to children at risk. They just need your support. In the next minute, dirty water will kill another child like Elodie. So please, don't wait to save a child's life. Text WATER to 70080 now to give WaterAid £3. Thank you.
If your dream holiday is 2 hours from the UK, perfect for children and teenagers, young couples and the older visitor, ideal for the physically active and for those who just want to unwind, Aqua City is the destination for you. Described by the Travel Channel as the place that will soon be on everybody's lips, be ahead of the crowd and the envy of your friends, but still enjoy a home from home. Come to Aqua City Poprad, the world's leading green resort.
From the heart of Europe to the world, RTI.
That'll be us then. It is Postcard from Poprad on a Friday, as always, and I should not turn myself up quite that loud. He's going to shout at me in a minute, but I'm going to get my bit first. It wasn't 10 years, actually. It was 2010 when he last did stand-up, and apparently that was 8 years ago. Thank you, Dave, who's been researching for us faster than...
2010? What, 8 years ago, Dave? Have you run out of fingers on your little hands? That was 7 years ago.
No, he's got his shoes on because it's cold.
Oh, ha. It's not cold.
It's freezing here.
It's not.
All right, it's not. Honestly,
Rachel, please tell him what freezing's like.
Freezing is 5 foot of snow,
yes,
and the wind chill is minus 20.
I would agree with that. That's about epitome of here. So
I had to put my coat on yesterday.
I can't wait. I'm so excited about getting the snow boots on in Poprad.
It's lovely. It's lovely. It's lovely. So have you done your research, Mr. Banks?
Well, Dave did it for us, yeah.
You didn't know he'd done that for you. You sat there in the ad break and did nothing.
No, he said, I won, before we went to the break. He was very happy.
I know, well, it was 2000, yeah, he did, the last stand-up he did, proper stand-up tour, was 2011, and then he's done a couple of one-off stand-ups in Manchester since then, so you are selling fake news, Mr. Wiltsher,
yeah,
and you're picking on me and making me very upset.
Oh, never mind,
Okay.
This will make you happy. This was a Qatar Airways flight, and this kind of... Well, actually, it wouldn't apply to Leigh or I or Rob because He just wouldn't. We wouldn't do this sort of thing.
No,
but anyway, everyone's having a little snooze on the plane. Hang on, let me do this first because Peter Kay is going on tour again in the UK after 8 years off. 44-year-old currently hosts the records for the biggest selling comedy tour of all time after playing to 1.2 million people in 2010, which is amazing.
Yes.
Absolutely amazing.
Uncle Leigh was right again.
Oh, there's no stopping him, is there? Anyway, well, this will happen not to Rachel, not to Rob, not to Andrea, not to Eric, but possibly Leigh then. Qatar Airways flight. Everyone's having little doze, as you do. Yes. When you're on an aeroplane, there's nothing else to do. It's pretty boring. All you can see is sky. So, I mean, what do you want to do? Watch the sky dry? I don't know. So, anyway, this lady picks her husband's hand up. And
that was quite a good statement, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, and she puts the finger onto his phone to unlock it. Then, when she unlocks it, what does she find?
Where is...
Well,
she finds out hubby is playing away.
guess what? I'm on his side here.
Why?
Actually.
Why?
What right does she have to unlock his phone? There's a privacy that you just don't. I would never unlock Rob's phone without his knowledge. Never. I would never do that.
I don't lock his phone.
These two are in deep trouble. That he cheats on her, she doesn't trust him. Divorce, and have an end to it all. But
Yeah,
no,
but
you
you
don't
can't get
someone.
divorced if you don't know what's been going on.
True.
She out what's going on. Now she can divorce him.
Yes.
I can't. If you suspect your
was
partner's
suspect.
cheating on you, get him.
She was suspect, and she thought he was. She must have thought he was up to no good. Why? What else would you unlock someone's phone?
True. Anyway, the upshot of all this was she really threw her toys out the pram.
On the plane.
On the plane, metaphorically speaking. And they had to do an emergency in-flight jobby and get landed quick because she was going to bonkers.
Can't raise a ruckus on a plane these days. People get nervous.
But I used to do that, Not masterly.
You used to do what?
Well, we used to have like mini parties on planes.
Yeah, can't do that anymore.
I'm glad you can't do that now. I tell you what, travelling on planes with drunken Brits is perhaps the worst thing that can ever happen to you other than travelling on planes with a child behind you.
Yeah, that's true. Hi to Daniela. No, it's not. It's Danielle. See, I've been in Slovakia too long. Danielle Thomas, who says, hello, Banana Man. Oh, very droll. Very droll, my dear. Anyway, this is the point where I have a little sip of my coffee, little relax, as I hand over to the lovies of the programme. Because if I say anything now, Rach will chastise me. So I'm not going to say my normal comment about getting a picture off the internet because it's cheaper, or popping down the local shop and getting a copy. I'm just not going to say that today. I'm going to leave it to Rach and Leigh to do this story without interruption, maybe.
Okay, Rach, would you like to start?
Would. A recently salvaged and restored Leonardo da Vinci painting has sold for a record-breaking sum at auction. And this is brilliant. I love this. Leonardo da Vinci was one of the most important artists of ever, I think.
He's made some good films as well.
You know what? I know a fact about this, a fun fact for you. Leonardo DiCaprio's mum was in Italy looking at paintings that he had painted, and little Leonardo DiCaprio was inside mum's tummy at the time, and every time she went past Leonardo da Vinci, he kicked. So she called him Leonardo, which I think is really cute.
This actually,
monster.
I know, as Mr. Eric Norman Wiltshire gets very angry about things like this for some inexplicable reason. What he doesn't understand, although I think he does secretly, what he pretends not to understand is that this is actually a very, very important statement on the state of the world's finances. And the fact that banks have now increased interest rates but not bothered to give it to anybody who's actually bothered to save money, you need somewhere to put your money that doesn't involve the stupid banks. And so people are now buying things like this and seeing the values rise exponentially. I bought a piece of art last year, I think it was. It might have been just the previous year. But certainly in less than 2 years, that piece of art has quadrupled. And that's because anybody who's got a little bit of dosh, I'm talking about having a fiver, having a tenner, needs to buy something to sell rather than stick it in a stupid bank.
That's right. And then what you do with that lovely painting is you don't squirrel it away somewhere. You
have it on your wall.
To a gallery or a museum, and you let everyone enjoy it, because this is historical stuff. It's really important. It's no different than finding an old bone in the ground and digging that up. It tells you about history, and it's really important. Yes, I know. I understand that $450.3 million is a lot of money, but this is an important piece of art, and this was lost for ages. Nobody knew where it was for a long time. Right,
yeah. And you see, these people, the obvious place to put your money is in property. But at the moment, property, even in different places other than Britain, is actually not that safe for an investment at the moment. So you look for something where people are buying classic cars. There is even talk now of diesel cars, certain diesel cars like my Bentley, becoming a collector's item in the future. So people are looking for diverse ways of investing their money, and this is one of them.
But I also say to Uncle Eric, people collect different things, and different things are important to different people.
He's gone.
I'm here.
Oh,
he's there he is.
I'm here.
I'm sure he'd love to have a cache of, very old and beautiful restored vehicles that were worth a lot of money. This is absolutely no different. And the thing about collectibles is that they never lose value.
That's true, Ray. That is no.
Well, some do, you're right. But anyway, we have got to get on because we've only got 18 minutes left. And you just
talk about this without being interrupted, didn't he, Rach?
Well, we finished it now because I've now got to hand over to you two again.
Oh, that's all right then.
Again, I'm going to have another... Well, you can see later on the video what I was doing. Because a television prequel series to The Lord of the Rings is about to be shown on Amazon Prime. Lord of the Rings. Yep.
Well, that's okay, but the prequel to Lord of the Rings was The Hobbit. And
so we've got that one as well, hasn't he, Rach?
Yeah, so there was that.
Fake news off Mr. Wiltsher.
And it'll have to be the prequel to that. So, I don't know. I don't. Star Wars.
What's the one after a prequel? Is it a quoquel?
Sequel.
It must be.
It can't be a sequel. Yeah, I suppose it could be.
Dave Rhodes, what does that mean? Dave Rhodes, researcher to the stars.
Yeah, Dave, come on, tell us. What's it?
Yes.
But the great thing, there's sort of good and bad things. The great thing is that, again, away from network television, streaming services are taking over, and that's why we're getting lots and lots of good content. But my fear with this is that what's going to happen is what happened with the prequels of the Star Wars franchise, which didn't do as well. So you never know. But it's got a lot of money. They're putting $250 million into this production, which is huge. But we'll see.
We've got all them dollars, Mr. Wiltsher.
All right.
It's all right. It's a film, isn't it? Yeah, I'm not answering this question because I think Rachel's done it perfectly, but I have a shock for Mr. Wiltsher.
Hold on. I've got to press the see more button now. She's very
Seymour. Is Seymour listening?
Yeah, Seymour's there as well, along with Master Bates.
Oh no!
What?
No!
Oh God, no!
What? A young Mr. Bates is called what?
George.
Yeah, right. The sequel is a noun. A book, film, or play that continues the story of a previous book, etc.
No, that's the prequel.
What?
We want to know what happened. What's the follow-on to a prequel?
Well, it must be sequel.
Before.
No, it can't be. It's not. It's a quadpril.
It's because whatever's before a prequel. That's what we're asking. What's before
after a prequel?
Well, the story.
Yeah, they said that
it must be prequel, story, sequel.
Prequel is 3.
That's what I'm saying. You've got Lord of the Rings, and the prequel to that was The Hobbit. So this
what's the quadruple?
I don't care.
Help us out, for goodness sake.
Okay, I will. The Royal Mail's half-year profits have fallen by nearly a third, and everybody's moaning. The unions are wrangling about more money. And do you know what? There's a simple thing here.
Yeah.
People are not sending letters anymore.
No, because they have to do emails.
Yes. So they're hardly going to make more and more profits in an industry that is shrinking.
And that is lewd. You know, I don't understand how people who trade on eBay and the likes can actually afford to sell anything nowadays with the cost of postage.
True.
You can sell something. Yeah, sell something for a £5 and it'll cost you £10 to send it. That means that has cost the person who's bought it £15. This world has gone wrong. Can I just say something that is involved with both these stories?
Oh, he's going to anyway.
The previous story and the Royal Mail. Well, it was one for you that I did yesterday. I did something for you yesterday, Mr. Wiltsher.
Ooh.
Yes, you didn't notice.
No.
I know. But, no, did you know, and this is true, that actually television is still far outstripping usage of the internet?
I'm watching right now.
More people use television than use the internet.
You'd have to qualify that a bit.
I can't remember the figures exactly, but there are 2.5
on a global. Yes, on a global basis, that would be true.
That's ended that row then, isn't
In
it?
Australia, it's true because we hardly get the internet.
This is true, because if you think about it, you can still get signals into certain areas where there's no internet, Leigh.
Don't care now.
Satellite telly.
Satellite telly, it's freebies. Freebies.
Well, I don't care now.
Right, here we go again. Here we go.
Argument.
A prequel is a literary, dramatic, or filmic work whose story precedes that of a previous work by focusing on events that occur before the original narrative. A prequel is a work that forms part of a backstory to the preceding work.
So it must still be called a prequel, though, Uncle Leigh. I'm actually going to get Andrea to sack me now because I should have known that.
The punchline is from Dave. Therefore, a prequel to a prequel is a prequel.
It's a prequel.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Good news.
Dave would know.
Dave knows everything. He's
very clever, isn't he?
He's very good.
He's looked that up. He didn't write that. He's looked it up and copied and pasted.
He's very quick on the keyboard. I'm so pleased with this story. Twitter has removed the blue verification ticks from several high-profile right-wing accounts on their network. People, I know he's going to tell me we should name everybody, but I think we're just giving them publicity they shouldn't have.
Yeah, but you see...
Let's take away the tick on the radio. I agree with you, Uncle Eric.
Thank you. But I will...
Can I nail this argument about naming people once and for all?
Be careful, because the next story is about Dob Billen, and if you talk too much...
You've just named him.
What, Dob Billen?
We won't have to do it.
The reason that people should be named, and it is wrong to take away to use this fallacious argument about anonymity. That's all they're looking for. It's not the fact that they're
No.
What they're looking what
done something horrible. I don't want to say their name out loud.
That's right. Why should we give them free publicity?
The point is that people who've done bad things or have done things that people see as not acceptable within society are named so that they don't get away with it. What your argument gives is a shroud of secrecy for people to do whatever they want to do.
All right then. Well, one person called Tommy Robinson has lost his blue tick, which means he's not a verified person.
Oh, you've named it now.
I know. But there again, what can I tell you?
Spencer.
Hello, Margaret. Where have you been? You're late. Margaret Coleman, you got to do 100 lines. I must be here 50 minutes earlier next week because I'm late.
You'll sleep well if you do 100 lines, Doc.
That's right. Rach?
Yes?
Right, have you got tea?
Tea?
I've got a big bottle of water, actually. It's a bit warm here this evening, so I've got a bottle of water.
Okay, well, I've got some coffee left in my mug. You got some water. So we'll just shut up and let him get on with it.
I was going to have a snooze.
Okay, deal. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And while I dissertate on Mr. Dillon's guitar selling for 396 million. Oh no, 396,000. Sorry.
Hang on, I got to do this. Margaret's just said, "Sorry, Eric. Very, very sorry." Bravo, Margaret. Bravo. I was like, we just wrecked him.
This is simply a story that start to prove that at the age of 76, his royal bobness is starting to take over the world yet again. And the guitar he used at the Bangladesh concert back in 1976, I think it was, 1977, has just sold for $400,000, which is about £300,000, I think, at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that is an
Difference between this and the Da Vinci. It's the same thing, isn't it, Uncle Leigh?
absolute. Of course, it is. It's a collectible. It's something. If I had that kind of money to spend, I would have bought his guitar, and then I would have sold it in a few years and probably doubled or quadrupled the money. It's a good thing.
Ooh, you capitalist, you.
I am a capitalist. Yes.
Indeed. We move on to squeeze a couple more in before we get to the end of the programme, boys and girls. Some other kind of good news, but kind of not yet because it's not finished. But that nasty evil man, Robert Mugabe, is now sort of under control, shall we say. Because at one point the speculation was that he was trying to create a dynasty in Zimbabwe by having his wife take over from him rather than him carrying on at 90 plus years old. I'll tell you what the problem with all this is. There is a massive organisation called the South African Development Community who, if there's a spat in a country, will actually send kind of like UN troops in. And they split everybody apart. Sorry, Rach?
Peacekeepers.
Yeah, kind of, but they're kind of peacekeepers. And that could have sparked Mugabe staying in Zimbabwe. Now, there's a lot of dialogue going on, which is a great thing. Don't get me wrong, rather than shooting, it's great to talk to each other. But equally, get rid of the lunatic out of the way. I suspect the money that he had stashed away has already gone with his missus to Namibia. And I wouldn't be at all surprised to see him go to Namibia rather than stay in Zimbabwe. So it's really good news for Zimbabwe. It'll be wonderful to have free elections down there. But I'm sorry, you ain't got a lot left in the kitty because someone's nicked it.
But also, let's think about this in a serious vein and try and extrapolate from what's coming out, what's actually happening. Because only a few hours ago, Robert Mugabe, made his first public appearance since he was placed under house arrest. And he did it at a university graduation ceremony.
Yes.
Now, that's a very strange thing for a man who's been put under house arrest.
No. It's called taking the sting out of it and not have South African troops come steaming over the border and shut everything up again.
Well, like waving proof of life kind of a deal.
Yeah, could be. So a lot is still going on there. This isn't getting rid of Mugabe. This is the fact that there is, quite rightly, like you say, there are some very, very strange political, I hesitate to say shenanigans going on, but they could well be, and to keep this man with some kind of authority and respect.
No, my opinion is they want him as a figurehead until he dies, but with no clout.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it. So why put him on house arrest?
Because that shuts him up.
but it doesn't if you allow him then to go to a university celebration.
But he could have only done that today, Leigh. Leigh, he could have only done that if the army let him go. He's not going to be able to just drive through the tanks.
Why are they doing it? Why place him under house arrest and then let him go out? If you want to boil it down to the simple point, why put him in house arrest and say, yeah, of course you can go to that celebration at the university. Yeah. It's a good thing, and you can say what you want to say, and you can wear your funny hat, and you can wear your funny clothes.
We move on, boys and girls, because I find this story the most ridiculous story we've had this week. And it's from a store called Aldi.
Aldi's wonderful. I love Aldi.
And Aldi's a it's a budget priced, stack 'em high, sell 'em cheap shop. And how anybody can chastise them for what went on is beyond me. Because Aldi have had to recall peanut packets from its shelves because the labels didn't mention the word "they contain nuts." They got nuts on the packaging.
And they've got nuts in it. Anybody can recognise a nut.
But do you have to say it on the label as a matter of legislation?
Yes.
Here, as a matter of law, you must say it.
I know.
So maybe that's the story. But
I'm sure that's
this
story is, yeah.
Poo.
Sure. Can we mention Greg's in the same voice?
Dave says that's nuts. No, we haven't got time for Greg's because I want to squeeze the one science story we've got at the weekend just for Rach. Apparently, Bill Gates is building a smart city. This is said Arizona-ly, so we're just not confused.
In Tucson, no.
Which will feature driverless cars and cutting-edge technology.
Driverless cars.
Trying to build one of those cool utopia situations. Bill Gates, he's a funny duck, isn't he?
Well, I just thought of something.
What?
There'll have to be a new law.
Why?
Well, not that you'd ever drink more than half a pint or half a litre or whatever it is of beer and drive, because you wouldn't. Yeah. But if you drank half a litre and got in the car and drove down the road, you wouldn't be nicked because you wouldn't be driving. So what do they do? Do they nick the car?
Well, it's drunk in charge, isn't it? It's drunk in charge.
But you're not in charge because the car's driving.
Well, but you're the one
who's drunk.
You started the car and you set it off on its journey, so you are technically in control of that car. The law in Britain is that if you're drunk and you have car keys on you, technically you can be done, even if you're not near the car.
That's always been the law. That's always been the law. Apparently, Bill wants to build this to sort of prove to the world that these sort of high-tech centres can work. And the truth is, Bill, a lot of it's already working, mate.
It won't work.
It together.
It just simply won't work because Microsoft is horrendously awful.
Yep.
That's a very profound statement, Rachel.
Yeah, it is. And you know what? A lot of this stuff is actually already there. It's kind of like when Bill Gates said, "This is going to be the digital decade," and he was 10 years out.
Right.
Yeah. And Dave's got one more comment before we go to the weekend. He says, just wait for the blue screen of death in Bill Gates' town. That'll be
That's exactly right.
That will be exactly right. So, Rach, what are you up to this weekend, kid?
A whole lot of nothing. I've got a whole lot of nothing that I've got to do. I've got to do a lot of things online because instead of going to Austria, we're going to Switzerland.
Oh, wow.
And,
Switzerland. Nice.
And Robbie can't figure out how to... But we're going there from Slovakia, and Robbie can't figure out how to get us out of the country. So I said I'd ask you.
It's dead easy. No, get a train. It's quicker.
Yeah, that's the way. Yeah, actually.
It's just get on the overnight express.
It's a better way to travel.
Yep, seriously.
So everything else.
All you got to do, Rach, go from here to Bratislava on, and off you go. You're done.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, simple. Any other questions you'd like to ask?
No, I'll ask them at a different time when it's more appropriate, like off air.
Yeah. Leigh, what are you up to, mate?
Well, actually, as nobody's marked the fact that this is the first time the Consumer Watch Foundation hasn't been mentioned.
Good Lord!
Oh my God, I didn't realise.
I'm just keep like that, and I'm just going to keep saying consumerwatchfoundation.com, consumerwatchfoundation.com, consumerwatchfoundation.com to everybody I meet. Read the Consumer Watch Foundation, because this week it's got some amazing stories.
Say goodbye, Sooty.
Bye, Sooty. Oh, sorry. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
Now your turn, Rach.
Bye, Rach.
And that was it, boys and girls. We've got to say goodbye to you on Facebook instantly, because we just do. And that's the end of it, really. It's just the way it goes. See ya. Because we can't play music on there. But Steve Bishop's up next. Oh, I better get his programme ready. See ya.